everyone. In this lecture, we're gonna talk about the language function, which is a part of the English language test for graduate studies. يعني احنا راح نتطرق اليوم لبعض الفريزز اللي نستخدمها بالوظائف اللغوية اللي قد تجينا بالامتحان الكفاءة. أول جزء, the first part, we're gonna talk about asking for permission and making requests, and then we have apologizing, and then we have thanking some people. So this is actually the three parts we're gonna talk about in this video. So the first one, we're gonna talk about asking for permission and making a request. Before we talk about like asking for permission in English, that means it is رخصة. Permission, رخصة. The verb is come from the verb permit. So permission, okay, is come from the verb permit, okay. So when I say asking permission, that means I'll ask like to, for example, for myself to get like a kind of a permission from someone. يعني أنا عادة من أطلب رخصة لمن أطلبها for myself, because usually the permission take is either from someone is like higher status than us, or higher, like for example in maybe like in age. عادة احنا نطلبها من شخص يكون يا اما اكبر منا لغوي عمرا او مكانة اجتماعية, from your boss, from your director, from supervisor, your parents. So yeah, or we sometimes we used to take like a permission from someone who's like the same. So we have like two types, we have formal and informal. يعني عندنا الرخصة اللي تكون رسمية وغير رسمية. So put in your mind, since we are talking about permission رخصة, so that means we take the permission for ourselves. فلهذا السبب احنا شو نستخدم البرونون I, الضمير I. فشو راح تكون التعابير؟ أول شيء احنا نستخدم can I, if you look to this sentence, okay, can I borrow your pen? Or may I turn on the air conditioner? Or could I, okay, or could I have some coffee, okay, or may I, which is the same, may I go out please, okay. So if you look to these four sentences, you're gonna see can I, may I, or even could I, and here it is may I, okay. So that means it's mean can or could or may plus I. All the time يكون الضمير شو يكون I, okay, plus يكون الverb مجرد. If you look to the sentence, borrow مجرد, ما بي لا اس ولا ed ولا ing. If you look to turn on, نفس الشيء. have نفس الشيء. go نفس الشيء. Okay, so can, we use it, can I, okay, may I, could I. All the time the verb what is gonna be like is infinitive basic verb, okay. So for can I, we use it for like can I for informal setting. يعني شنو informal setting؟ يعني يكون بشكل غير رسمي. From your coworker, قد يكون زميلك بالعمل, from your classmates, زميلك بالدراسة, from your like brothers, like sister, or even like from your friend. So can I borrow your pen? Can I use your phone? Can I borrow your car? فهذه احنا نستخدمها take permission like informal setting بشكل غير رسمي. Well, if I take like a permission from like in formal, here informal setting, so we use first of all may I, which is very like formal, تكون كلش رسمية. May I turn on the air conditioner؟ تروح لل like a boss or a director for in your work or in your job and say may I take a leave today؟ ممكن أن أخذ إجازة اليوم. May I get like for a raise for my salary؟ فهنا شو تكون الرخصة، فنستخدم may I أو أستخدم could I. could I may I يكون الفعل اثنيناتها مجرد، استخدمها for formal setting. can I استخدمها for informal setting. نجي هناك تعبير آخر which is me would you mind if I. look to the sentence. Would you mind if I? Would you mind if I? هنا permission فأكيد راح يكون subject I. Okay. So would you mind if I؟ هنا نقدر نستخدمها تكون يعني نقدر نستخدمها for actually most of the time like informal or formal, but for informal إذا استخدمها بشكل غير رسمي قد يكون بالشارع وده تستطيع يعني مثلا على سبيل المثال وده تطلب الرخصة. لكن more like formally تكون رسمية may I and could I. Would you mind باعوا لي to this phrase would you mind. Okay. if إذا أجتنا would you mind if I, this is for permission. Okay. فيكون عادة responses طبعا بامتحان الكفاءة قد يسألك مثلا يجيب لك مثلا a phrase for example a phrase and then ask you this is for permit اللي هي للرخصة, for request للطلب, or for like for example for getting help wherever. فأنت هنا تختار على أساس صياغة السؤال تستخدمه, أو قد يجيب لك السؤال ويريد من عندك تختار the best appropriate response تكون الريسبونس الصحيح. مثلا sure, yes of course, yes go ahead, I'm sorry you can't إذا مثلا تعطي الرخصة. أما إذا would you mind ف little bit tricky. why؟ لأن would you mind إذا قلت yes يعني معناها of course you have mind to do this thing, يعني أمانع. so would you mind إذا استخدم لك would you mind if I, would you mind فهنا معناها شنو؟ you have to answer no and then you say. فلازم أني أجاوب no لا أنا ما عندي مانع, go ahead please do. اوكي. فهنا هذا الفرق. would you mind لازم يكون الإجابة الشطر الأول تكون no لأن أنا يعني معناها ما عندي مانع, بعدين أكمل إجابتي على الريسبونس. هذه just be careful about it. نجي for making a request. for making a request احنا شنو عادة نطلب request from someone, فدائما يكون الطلب لشخص آخر فنستخدم you. فنستخدم could you get me some coffee, or would you please turn on the TV, or can you close the door. So if you look to this sentence you're gonna find that all these sentences followed by you and then the base verb. يعني إذا بعد could you or can you or would you كلها تكون يعني تكون مرفقة بيو لأن أنا هذه request, and then we have a base verb. Okay, so could you, would you and can you. طبعا could you, would you this is formal, هذه نستخدمها بالformal. can you this is informal, تكون بشكل غير رسمي can you. Okay, and of course please يعني. if we talk about here would you mind if you, طبعا would you mind احنا أخذناها بالpermission. would you mind if I, this is for permission. for request would you mind if you gave me some water, would you mind if you help me to do something. Okay, فهذه أيضا تعبير لازم, لكن how differentiated from like permission from the pronouns. بالpermission احنا نستخدم may I, could I, okay, can I. Okay, even when we use would you mind if I. for request we use you, can you, could you, would you, and would you mind if you. Okay, for response it's gonna be like the usual response. Sure, yeah, sure, certainly, of course, yes, of course, I'm sorry I can't, I'm afraid I can't, if you don't want to like to do request. لكن however, okay, would you mind if you, if we have this question would you mind if you, so لازم احنا نجاوب. if we try to accept we have to answer with no and then answer the question. would you mind if you help me? No, of course. Here, no, that means I don't have mind, and then of course. طبعا this is a typical question because would you mind a little tricky. Would you mind عادة okay the question permission usually say yeah, yes, we don't have mind. But when we say would you mind, so that means هل تمانع, so you have to answer no لا أمانع and then answer the question. Okay. So here let's see this examples, and let's say, okay, Jane, can I turn on the air conditioner? Yes, go ahead. This is the permission. Okay, so oh, thanks, it's getting here hot in here, no problem. Okay, so since it is asked for like a permission, so say yes, go ahead. Go ahead is a phrase that mean okay. تفضل ما معناه. Okay, here let's see like practice for asking permission. You want to turn on the TV, what will you say? And it asks like a permission. So what I say? Either to say like may I, or could I, or would you mind if I turn on the TV? You want to go out the room, what you will say? May I leave the room? طبعا if you are talking to your boss or someone, but to your friend, may I or can I leave the room? For making a request, you ask your friend to close the window. What will you say? This is your friend, so what use? Can you please close the window? You ask your sister or brother to buy you a drink. We can ask, can you like buy a drink for me? So this is a typical question how to make a request. Okay, so yeah, so this is the most some of the examples of making a request, or like even asking for permission. So asking permission, can I, may I, could I, would you mind? So this is for asking a permission. But for making a request, can you please, could you please, would you please? Here we have would you mind if I, this is for permission. Would you mind if you? So how we differentiate between these two phrases. For permission للرخصة استخدم I. For a request is you. Okay. Now also we're gonna talk about apologizing. Apologize as a verb يعني معناها الاعتذار, which we can say I'm sorry. This is considered apologize. I apologize. So this is the same thing. هو الاعتذار. عادة هو جزء من الوظائف, يعني الوظائف اللغوية اللي يجينا عليها سؤال أيضا. So I apologize to do that. Okay, so this is what, or I'm sorry to do that. This is apologize, or condolences, or like thanking. So of course you have to choose the appropriate. So apologize, that means is اعتذار. So let's see these actually expression that we use. So if you see here, this expression that we use it for apologizing, للاعتذار. I apologize, for example. عادة I apologize for. عادة as a phrase نستخدم I apologize for. أنا أعتذر لي. Because the literal translation for, that means in English, okay? So, and since we use for, so that means there's a verb all the time is ing. I apologize for being late. I apologize for not doing this. I apologize for making you wait. I apologizing for, or I apologize actually for making you wait, or I apologize for breaking your glasses. Okay, so this is, we use it actually for apologizing, الاعتذار. Okay, so let's see to this conversation. I apologize for example. So, or we can use it as a phrase, it is all my fault. Fault here is خطأي أو غلطتي. This is considered I apologize. Or please forgive me. Forgive me ما معناها المسامحة. So forgive me, that you are seeking forgiveness from someone. So it's also considered I apologize. Pardon me for this mistake, or pardon me for that. Okay, pardon me is also apologizing. And sorry, this is the typical one. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. So this is expression, we use it for apologizing, للاعتذار. But the only one that you have to be careful with the grammar. I apologize for that, I mean the verb should have that ing. The typical responses usually, That's alright. احنا عادة كما قلنا بالوظائف اللغوية either bring like a question about the phrase itself. قد يكون جيب لك عبارة and ask you this is like a request, a permission, wherever, or they give you like an example about okay phrase and say what is the appropriate response أو يسألك عن responses. فresponses مثلا على سبيل المثال that's alright, okay, never mind, okay, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it, okay, don't mention it, that's okay, forget about it, okay. So if you see these responses, it's completely that the responses that we see before. So this response is for apologizing. يعني إذا شفت قد يجيك بالامتحان response like يعني a question على apologizing and one of these response has the same, you have to choose it. Now also let's talk about some of the like thanking actually expression. I know most of you like we know that the typical word that use it for expression is like thanking actually is thank you, right? Thanks, okay, thanks a lot. So yeah, this is a typical question like for example thanks, thank you, thanks a lot, thanks very much, okay. Or we can say it was very kind of you, or for example you have been very helpful. This is like thanking phrases as well. But for the responses, okay, for example, you are welcome, not at all, don't mention it, it's my pleasure, it was nothing, that's all right, no problem. So this is the typical responses that will try like okay maybe for example in the test about like bring you one of these expression and they say this is like for example this is a response for, okay, of course, or they bring you like thank you for like for example for doing or for helping me for example, and then they say okay the response is, and they bring you options of the responses and you have to choose one of this, okay. So you're welcome, not at all, don't mention it, it's my pleasure, it was nothing, that's all right, no problem. So yeah, this is actually the typical responses for also another topic of like for example of language function is congratulations. Congratulations هي التهاني بصورة عامة. Some of the phrases for congratulating someone, it is first of all is congratulations, congrats, or I would be like the first to congratulate you. I would like to congratulate you. Please accept my warmest congratulations. May I congratulate you? I must congratulate you. And it was great to hear about your, for example, achievement. All these is considered for congratulations, or well done, fantastic. So all these is show a congratulations phrases. For responding, for example, let's use like for example, it's very good of you to say so, how nice of you say so, thank you very much for saying so, I'm glad that you you think so. So all these phrases is nothing special actually, or not really, nothing, thanks. This is the typical question. Yeah, so this is a kind of expression for congratulation. Thank you.